We're recording.
Good evening. Welcome to the City of Glens Falls Common Council meeting. It's Tuesday, October 14th, 7:30. We will call this meeting to order and ask Councilman Lappin to lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We begin tonight's council meeting with a presentation from EDR regarding our comprehensive plan. Ladies, the floor is yours.
So thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you this
Go
evening.
up to the microphone,
The microphone, and then we'll at least have you on camera.
So thank you very much for the opportunity to come and speak with you. I'm Susan Caravana. I'm the Planning Services Manager at EDR. And
I'm Laura Lorenzo, program manager on this with EDR.
so we just want to give you a quick update, 5 minutes, no time for questions. You should each have a handout in front of you because we're going to throw a lot of dates and numbers at you and it's easier to have points in front of you. And what we wanted to do is just tell you what we've done to date, and then Laura will walk you through and tell you what the next steps are. So as you know, in 2024, you guys received a great grant from the Department of State through the Smart Growth Comprehensive Plan program. And we have gone through, you have a contract, and we have gone through and made sure that we have hit all of the DOS tasks on that contract. And the first was community participation. And at EDR, we feel that public engagement is a key piece of writing any planning document. So we put a lot of time and effort into the public engagement piece. We did a community participation plan. And basically, this is where we worked with city staff and with the comprehensive plan committee and said, what's the best way to reach everyone in the community? And what different tasks or elements should we include as part of our public engagement? And we also created a public project website, and this allowed people in the community to stay informed, and it also gave them the option to sign up to get more information and find out when events were going to be happening. We have a comprehensive plan committee. So far we've had 8 meetings and a work session. We started in October. We started last October with the kickoff meeting, and we have worked steadily throughout the process. This group has been very engaged. They've been involved in public engagement and helping draft the narrative of the plan. We met with stakeholders and focus groups, and these included residents, businesses, parks and recreation, tourism. We met for 2 days and had different sessions with folks. And the committee said, you know what, we really want to see more young families move to Glens Falls, and would you mind meeting with young professionals? And they also said, we'd like to learn more about mobility and transportation. So we came back in February and we did another round of stakeholder interviews. This all provided some qualitative data to help us identify a vision and goals and recommendations. We took that information and we had a community survey in February of this year. We had 438 participants, which is a tremendous amount for a community survey, so kudos to Glens Falls. We had 2 public open houses. The first we had in April at the Queensferry Hotel. And this is where we asked folks, what's your vision for your city? What do you want it to be like in 10 years? And we asked, what are the strengths? And maybe what are some of the challenges that you'd like to see overcome in the next 10 years? And we took all that information. We came back again. We actually met here on one of the hottest days of the summer in July. And we had 70 people come out. And we said, okay, this is what you told us you have for your vision. And these are the things you'd like to see happen. Did we get it right? And so we gave them a vision statement to review, and we gave them goals and recommendations, and they gave a thumbs up, thumbs down, and provided feedback. We took that back to the committee, and we did make changes to the recommendations based on the community's input. So again, that's all qualitative data. We also did quantitative data. And so we did a community profile, which is one of the DOS requirements. And this included mapping, looking at census data, trends, labor department information, and we came up with a narrative that provides sort of a snapshot of where Glens Falls is today. Then we worked with the committee and we came up with a vision, okay? This is our snapshot of where we want to be today. Where do you want to be 10 years from now? And then what are the goals and recommendations that are going to get us there? And so we work with the committee to develop that. A critical piece of, if you flip it over, a critical piece of the plan is also a future land use plan. And in this case, it's a map. It is not to be confused with a zoning map. It's just an idea of, these are the different recommendations we've come up with. Can Glens Falls accommodate those? Is there something that needs to be changed in terms of land use or zoning? And so we came up with a map. That was probably the busiest table when we had the second public open house. People were really involved and engaged. Once again, we came with a draft map. We went back and we made changes based on what the public told us. And then finally, we prepared an implementation strategy. And what this is the goals and recommendations. The committee has gone through and ranked them as either a high, a medium, or a low priority. And they assigned a time frame. Is this, low-hanging fruit? Can it get done in a year? Does it have a lot of moving pieces? And so it might take up to 10 years, kind of like the DRI projects, to get it done. It takes a lot. And so we did that, and hopefully, as council members, this is something that's going to help you, and you can just keep this implementation matrix with you at meetings, and you'll know what the public is interested, what they're supporting. We include in there potential project partners, potential funding sources, and it can be a resource for you. So I know I went through a lot really fast, but do you have any questions about what's been done so far? Yes, sir.
If I could. So, looking at some of these numbers here, so for a city of 13,000 people, we've only had 60 or 70 people that showed up in your in-person meetings, and a survey that we sent out was you had 438 participants. Is that good or bad?
It's really good. It's really good. If we get 20 people at an open house, we're very excited. So yes.
So you think a sampling like that is good numbers?
I do.
Okay. And then the other question I got is when does this conclude and when will we have a report?
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm going to turn it over to Laura, and she's going to answer that for you.
Great question. Thanks, Sue. And so, a big thank you to your committee and to your city staff. They've been.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I think before you go on to the next steps, I
Sorry.
have a question.
Oh, just kind of following up on Councilman Landry's question. I remember when we were meeting to select a firm to do this, one of the things we talked about was actually going to community events where the public already is, like the farmers market on Saturdays, which is bustling, or Take a Bite, which just occurred, or any number. We're a community that likes to celebrate. We have events all the time. Have you done any of that?
I have an excellent shot with me and Gunner. That was one of our early outreach at the Thunder Games to get the word out. We were passing out postcards. The survey was open at that point. We were also dovetailing with some of your existing things that were happening in outreach. So there was the Thriving Communities grant that you were doing in parallel. So we were making sure we were going to those and doubling up on our outreach input. So we were getting those groups too. And the second open house we did in parallel with the Take a Bite. We co-posted with their events too. We had flyers at the food trucks and made sure that we were trying to cross-pollinate on our outreach efforts to get all those different groups. And through these stakeholder interviews, when we started off right at the beginning, we got a mailing list going. We had the networks that we were reaching out through those stakeholders and different groups to make sure we were disseminating, not just on the website, right? Of course, we want to be pushing this out to your existing groups, your existing networks, and going to your existing events. Anything I missed? I mean, there's other, those, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions?
So in terms of next steps, I was saying a big thank you to the committee because they've really helped us keep moving. We had an ambitious timeline, but we wanted to keep up with the schedule and with what we had with the DOS expectations for your contracts, but we also want to be responsive to the community for those requests that came up and to do the extra outreach. We had some extra meetings with them, so they've been really great to work with, and we now have a draft comprehensive plan. And that went out to the committee, all those pieces that Sue was just talking about, we put together. We have a draft plan together, and that went out to the committee last week for their review. So that's the first step in this review process, and this is largely prescribed by the state process through the grant, and also actually the New York State General Municipal Law. There's a process for your comprehensive plan approval, so we're following that in these steps. So the first step here is to go through with the draft comp plan. It's gone to the city. We've gotten some city staff feedback already. It's gone to the committee, and it's gone to our state representative for their review. We're targeting October 20th for those comments to come back. Depending on the comments, we are hoping to have those resolved and updated so that it can then go out in early November to your planning board and your zoning board of appeals to get their feedback and their comments on it. And then the next step is to bring it to council, to common council, to submit a copy to you to comment on and to present it. We're penciling in maybe November 25th is what we're targeting for that presentation for your meeting. Again, seeing, depending on what kind of comments we get back, we're hoping to turn it around for that meeting to present it the first time to the council for your comments. Once we have your comments included, then we're able to initiate the seeker process. This is a type 1 action as a comprehensive plan, so it requires that full long form, an environmental assessment form. So we'll then be able to initiate that process, and the common council would declare your intent to be the lead agency. We'd start that process. In parallel, it goes to the county planning board. This is also required under general municipal law for their review. That's a 30-day review period with the county. We'll get all those comments in. We'll address those final comments. It goes back to city staff, it goes back to DOS, and then we'd have the final comprehensive plan ready. So we're hoping around January, we would have that final public hearing and local adoption process with the common council.
So sometime in January.
Yes, for everything to wrap up. Pending, depending on how the comments go and then what we receive back, but most of these partners have been involved all the way through. So we're hoping there's no major surprises for them, but we also, this is your comprehensive plan, so we want to make sure we get it right and we're incorporating all comments and making sure it fits the city's needs. So we don't want to rush it for sure.
Will you also be engaging the Board of Public Safety and the Water and Sewer Board? You said the planning board and the zoning board, but those other boards have some weight in the city for decision making.
We've reached out to those stakeholders in a way during the inventory process that we did, the community profile. We are in contact with the different boards and agencies and representatives to understand the needs and hopefully capture that in the profile. And we've gone out, actually we got some comments through the committee members. They're also representing different interests. And if they see something, maybe circle back and check on this. So that's been part of the drafting process, is getting those folks involved so that, it should be correct and draft.
Do we have specifically representation for those boards?
No.
Because they do have, certain powers from the charter, so I think that they should be at least aware of what is in the draft, so that they can have opportunity to comment.
We can work with city staff.
Yeah.
So public's opportunity to comment on the draft would be during public hearing. Is that typically how it goes?
They'll have time in advance of the public hearing to review the draft. It'll be available at City Hall, it'll be available at the library, and on the project website. They can read through it, they make their comments, and then they'll come forward during the public hearing if they have comments that they'd like to share.
So we'll make a big effort to publicize that ahead of time.
Correct.
So that they can see it.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time.
Next up on our agenda, we have our public comment period. It's a 3-minute opportunity to address the council. We'd like to ask anyone to come forward and state your name and your address. Please remember that there's a 3-minute time frame, and we ask to address the whole council as a group and not any single council person. Any public comment?
Does it have to be about?
Can be about anything you like.
Well, hello everyone, good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Angelica Marquina, and I am the owner of 518 Beauty Room located in downtown Glens Falls. And my name is Angelica Marquina, and I own 518 Beauty Room located in downtown Glens Falls. I'm here tonight I talked to Chip earlier, and he said to just come tonight because I know I'm not on the board yet, but I figured I would just show face and introduce myself. And I'm here tonight to request a zoning amendment for 172 Ridge Street, which has been vacant since 2019. The building is currently restricted to office use only, and as we know, since COVID, that has become obsolete. Meanwhile, Glens Falls is still thriving in other sectors, including tourism, wellness, and small business entrepreneurship. This building was built in 1875 and is over 6,000 square feet with 15 parking spaces and has tremendous historical character. For those who don't know, it was where the Quakers' Friends meetup was. Unfortunately, it's been sitting empty for 6 years, generating no sales tax revenue and no local jobs, just collecting dust. My proposal is to breathe life back into it by creating a 2-level beauty and wellness destination that aligns with our city arts and community's focus. The downstairs would feature a beauty and wellness professionals, lashes, skincare, all cosmetologists and estheticians licensed, and the upstairs would become a spa and massage membership retreat with body treatments, wellness services, and relaxation rooms. Together, this could create 10 to 25 local jobs and bring over $100,000 in annual taxable sales, which translates to around $8,000 to $12,000 in a year in sales tax revenue for the city and the county. On top of that, the increased property value, business permit fees, utilities, and related spending will generate tens of thousands more in indirect economic activity each year. And beyond the numbers, this is about community and preservation. I don't want to change the character of the building. I want to preserve its story and give it purpose again. I've already proven my dedication to this city. I opened up 518 Beauty Room in January of 2020 and survived a global pandemic, so I feel like after this point, I can turn this space into another reputable studio. If I can survive that, I think with your support, this space and for this community could be something really big. The project isn't about change for the sake of change. It's about reviving a beautiful landmark in a way that serves the people, creates opportunity, and restores Glens Falls. And I also wrote out just some bullet points for you guys so you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about.
Can I ask you a quick question? So that's in my board. I worked with the present owner over the last 4 years trying to help him get that property sold because they wanted to sell it. What did you say about parking? Because I thought that was the issue.
Yeah, so I actually have both neighbors in support of the zoning change, and Christina, the owner of the apartments right next door, informed me that she would be more than happy to let us use the parking spaces, but that would be a pleasure, temporary until we could get a larger parking space. But on top of the side parking, the apartment parking, and I think in the future adding a parking space on the side. Usually it's not really feasible, that type of space, because right now the issue is it's only allowing to be operated as residential or 1 to 2 family homes or office spaces. As we know, office spaces are kind of obsolete, and a 1 to 2 family home that has a park there 24/7 isn't the most advantageous for that type of parking style. So if it was a business that's more of a 9 to 5, people coming in and out, it wouldn't really cause an issue. And Joe of course was going to attend tonight, but after talking to Chip, I told him he came out for that second. So, I just kind of wanted to introduce myself and make known of what I'm trying to work on in my next project. So thank you all for listening, and if you have any questions, let me know.
Karen, can you remind me, I assume that this is, if the council
So I did do that, and I spoke to Chip a week ago, and he said that this was already on the board for tonight. So I stopped in today just to confirm, and he said that they're requesting environmental and maybe engineer documents of some sort, and that he was going to email me today the information that I need to provide for the actual
It's
meeting.
on the agenda for the zoning board
It was supposed to be on the agenda to discuss tonight.
for us.
Yeah.
to discuss.
But I think after speaking to him today, he let me know that I need to give him some information that he's gonna email me to let me know what information I need to provide. Yeah,
So I'll talk to him tomorrow, make sure we get back to you.
wonderful,
I believe we just need a letter making that request from the office. and go forward. Okay?
wonderful. I look
So
forward to it.
They're a great independent group that is appointed by the mayor, but they look at zoning as it currently is and examine making these kinds of variances depending on the merits. Sounds good to me, but I gotta be honest, I'm not up on this and whether it's allowed or not. But it's good that I don't get to weigh in on it, right? We don't get to weigh in. We can make that recommendation, forward it on, let them look at it, and come back and see if there's issues.
Yes, well, I look forward to it, and thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for
Hey,
your
thank
time.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Good evening. My name's Peter Taylor. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm speaking on behalf of about 30 people, so I may go over very slightly the 3 minutes. Emily, I've gotten you don't need to write it. I wrote it all down for you, so take a break. My wife and I moved to Glens Falls in '83. We lived on Holman Street in a duplex until 2001, and we bought our dream house at 20 Chester Street. I think you might have gone to some parties there, and it was the Kim's house. I'm here tonight because of the complete lack of oversight, supervision, or any form of management at a group home located at 13 Chester Street. It's turned our dream home into a nightmare. Ascend Mental Wellness owns 13 Chester. It's called the Genesis House. And according to their website, and I'm quoting, it's a group home environment which provides a high level of support for people in the earliest stages of recovery. I'm here to tell you nothing could be further from the truth. For 20 years, we've tried to be good neighbors to a revolving door of chaos. For instance, the young lady that was clothing adverse, apparently, would come down outside and plop herself on the sidewalk repeatedly, completely nude, and we would just move off the front porch and go to the backyard. The last 2 years have been unbearable. There's a lot of situations, I'm just going to address the very worst one. The worst situation is a client that every day just screams the F-bomb at the top of his lungs. He also seems to dislike our pride flag and yells over, and I won't quote him directly, I'll F you effing homo fag. He should have been a football coach because his voice carries all the way to our pool in our backyard. We always invite everyone we know to bring their kids to use the pool in the summer, and he often scares not only the children, but some of the parents. This summer, our children were visiting from California, and he was out screaming at 4:15 in the morning, waking our entire house and terrifying my grandchildren. I'm not ignorant to mental health issues. I taught special ed at BOCES for a few years. My father suffered from bipolar disorder his whole life. I lost an uncle to suicide, and my Irish roots had sprinkled alcoholism throughout the family tree. So I understand the importance of treatment, but there's little to no treatment happening here. Ask anyone on Chester Street who has walked over to discuss the situation with the employees, and here's a partial list of responses we get. We can't really do anything. It's not us, it's the service providers that are supposed to handle problems. Clients are allowed to be symptomatic in public. More frequently, it's just a shoulder shrug and not much else. On that Friday night, Saturday morning, whichever you want to call it, at 4:15, I walked over to ask the employee who was just watching the client screaming the F-bomb repeatedly if he could do something. He was so disinterested, he seemed bored. I asked his name, and he said, Dan. I said, Dan what? He said, just Dan. I said, you don't have a last name? He said, no, I don't. I asked him to please call the supervisor for the building and tell her what was going on. He refused. He said he didn't want to wake her. I did ask him if he grasped the irony of that comment. This arrogance and complete disdain for the neighborhood goes all the way to the top of the organization. About an hour later, at 5:15, I called the offices of both the CEO, Andrea Deppie, who I'd spoken with on a few occasions, and Peter Oldentowski, who is the CFO, who is listed as the contact person for the property. I explained the situation on their voicemails. I stated I knew it was Saturday morning, I wasn't going to hear back until Monday, but this situation was well out of control. Neither call was ever returned. When another client was attempting to destroy a PVC conduit running down one of the telephones, we were just standing there kicking at it like crazy with heavy work boots trying to break it. The police were called. The responding officer came back and I asked him how it went, and he told me the staff member he talked to, his response was, well, she obviously couldn't care less. About 30 of us in the neighborhood are affected by this. I know it's not a huge number, but the impact on the quality of our lives is huge. At this point, we feel that this organization needs to find a new location for this group home. We feel the nuisance abatement chapter of the city code certainly applies here. In addition to the frustration felt by all of us, there have been 24 fire calls to that location just this year, just up until September 23rd, and over 60 police calls. The police calls include disorderly conduct, fights, harassment, larceny, and numerous calls that are redacted. I'm not sure how the point system of the nuisance abatement code works, but boy, I'm willing to learn. I also researched how they were able to get a variance to operate this facility in an area that's its zoned single family. And my FOIA request response stated that there's never been a variance granted to 13 Chester Street. So we don't understand how a non-conforming business is operating here. I know this issue is new to almost all of you except our councilwoman, so this request probably seems extreme, but we are at the proverbial end of our ropes. Undoubtedly, someone will reach out to us, and I assure you, promises will be made to handle this. The only guarantee I can give you is nothing will change. I thank you for your time. Stephanie Ruel, so has been doing it good. So she typed out what she was going to say. And yes, any questions? Yeah.
So you said there were 60 police calls?
Yes,
How many firefighters?
24.
Karen, do you know are they tax exempt from?
They are taxes up front. Vendor street tax.
They're not required to use variance. It's classified as a single family home operated. And I don't know if you've contacted the code office to make a complaint regarding nuisance abatement, but that's what we do.
I don't know where to go from here, so.
Building and codes, we contact building and codes and say you like to regarding nuisance abatement.
Building and codes, okay.
I really, Peter, thank you for coming and talking to us. Come and see me.
Okay.
Let's get together, we'll get together, building code, we'll get the updated report of the police records, and we'll set up a meeting with the
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just so everyone knows, I have been trying to work with the agency to help in this situation. They're trying to move the client who's making all the noise. The last email I had said that they had just received an update from ACT that informed them that the client is close to the top of the HUD list. I just wanted to let you know this gets us closer to finding him a desired living arrangement that would not be on your street, but I know that hasn't happened yet. I've been trying to stay in touch with them to.
And I appreciate your efforts. I know you're on top of trying to do, but at this point, it's not just that one client either.
Yeah.
There's so many clients.
When we talked, it was that one that you had mentioned, but I just wanted to update you that that is what the agency has said at this point, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Not hearing any, we go to committee reports. Councilman Clark. Councilman Downey. No. Councilman Lambert.
Thank you, Mayor. The Mayor's Task Force on Day Users in City Park met on July 7th to further discuss the issues and concerns regarding the increase of homeless activity in our downtown area. A large turnout of both residents and business owners allowed us to openly discuss the issue with those most affected by it. Unfortunately, our police chief was unavailable to discuss policing options. Our police department social worker, Darlene Heffern, updated us on the opioid funds the city and Catholic Christian Charities was awarded in early September, which will be used to further expand the social service aspect of the homeless issue. Our next meeting is scheduled, and I haven't sent a notice out on this, but it'll be one out tonight because we just finalized it today. Our next meeting will be held Friday, 24th of October at 10 a.m. We're going to hold that meeting in the Adirondack room in the Queensbury Hotel because of the size and number of people who came to the last meeting, and I think we'll have more this time. And the Queensbury Hotel has offered us the Adirondack room for an hour and a half at no charge. Thank you.
Committee reports, Councilwoman Palmer.
I have no new report, just to tell people the same thing that I'm waiting until we get through the budget process to schedule that meeting to look at our fees. I think we have meetings almost, we've all been inundated with meetings, but when that's over, look for an email to schedule that.
Councilman Lamb.
The Technology Committee met on Monday, October 6th. A couple of highlights from it with .gov domain update continuing and should be completed in the next week or so. We talked with Storage Tech. They were making networking changes for the courthouse change based on that they needed to make some phone system changes, and those are ongoing. Police are working with another provider for laptop and iPad changes. I asked if somebody could confirm that with that committee. I haven't heard anything back. The police department has the speed camera trailer that will take photos of violators and allow city to send letters to folks breaking the law, and we have a sky shield with cameras to deploy around the city. Stand up on the watershed property. We had some questions to ongoing costs for networking and other services related to all cameras. Haven't heard anything back on that. NIST evaluation for cybersecurity is ongoing. We also had our urban fire, our cybersecurity provider has been proposing SAS alerts for over a year, and we still haven't heard any response on that from the city. The committee as a whole has heard no word about the cybersecurity incident that occurred in the summertime. We've heard that the city has received communications that has not been shared with the committee or the council. The committee reiterates the strong recommendation that the report be shared and that a postmortem be initiated to determine lessons learned and new procedures to remediate any risks and to avoid the recurrence of business interruption. The next meeting will be in November on the 10th, Monday the 10th.
Committee reports, Councilwoman Good. Under consent agenda, are there any items on the agenda? There are 7 items. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns about any of these items on the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to pull 5.6 and 5.7.
I'd like to pull 5.4 because I believe that any financial should be put up to a vote.
So under the consent agenda, item 5.1, approval of the 9/23/25 common council meeting. 5.2, consent agenda approval of clerk September 2025 office PBB monthly report. 5.3, consent agenda approval of the controller's monthly manual check payment report. 5.5, the consent agenda for approval of the warrant. Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Under 5.4, Councilman Lappin is requesting us to pull that for a vote. It's approval of the community development manual payments of $22,468.36.
Also ongoing, I've requested this at least 3 different occasions to have these not included as a consent agenda.
You have, just recently, the council approved the procedures for the council agenda. If the councilman would like to make a consent or request to change the council approval, right now, consent agenda are regularly occurring items like the warrant, regular occurring non-controversial items. So if you wish to exclude the community development manual payments, you can do so, and then somebody can second that. You can put it on the agenda, and we'll pull for a vote.
I'm just saying it's consistent with what we do for CDBG and home rehab assistance, which is on the regular agenda.
That is not the opinion of the clerk's office, where the community development manual payments were on it and are still on it, and there's also the warrant itself as a financial document, and the manual check payment reports. All those things are regular occurring items, but again, if you want to write a suggested change to the consent agenda, the guidelines, we can put it to a vote for the council. For now, we pulled the vote for a consent agenda item, approval of community development manual payments of $22,468.36. Do we have a motion to approve? So moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 5.6, consent agenda, acceptance of the tentative general fund, water and sewer department budgets from the city clerk. Councilwoman Palmer, did you have a question or comment?
Just, I was working off the agenda that was in our mailboxes and that we sent out, and those 2 resolutions weren't on the agenda. Where were they added?
They were added because I failed to put them on the agenda ahead of time, and it's in our charter, as raised the awareness by Councilman Lappin, that although we never formally did it, it does say in our charter that in the second week by the 15th of October, that the clerk will present the budget as it currently is. It's a tentative budget, but will present the budget by the October 15th and that's it. There hasn't been any changes from Friday's meeting. That is the agreed agenda that we all talked about at our last meeting. There is still some final changes that the council will make, but we're presenting that budget as it is. The clerk is officially giving you copies again, even though you just got them on Friday, and make sure that they're available also to the public.
Are you talking specifically about 5.6, or are we talking generally about both of them right now?
We just talked about 5.6.
Okay, yeah. My question was, when were these items added to the agenda?
Yesterday, today.
Today, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
So the reason I'm asking is because I noticed that they weren't on there, and I had constituents ask me about it, and I said, I don't know why, maybe they decided to wait. So I just think when things are added at the last minute, the reason we put them on to publicly notice them is so the public has time to know what's on the agenda. They might have questions. So I think the charter says that if something is added at the last minute, we have to take a vote. It has to pass by unanimous consent. So let's just make sure we do it procedurally correctly for those 2. So that's my comment. That's specifically about 5.6. I have another comment about 5.7. Do you want to do 5.6?
Sure. 5.6 is the acceptance of the tentative fiscal year 2026 general fund and water and sewer department budgets from the city clerk. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I don't have any opposition to accepting it.
Motion's carried. Thank you. 5.7, this is on there because of a different code, and again, I apologize that this wasn't on there sooner. I was looking at working on the budget request from our last budget and the questions that the council had for me, and I have updates for you, not regarding changing the budget, but answers to the questions that came up. And as we did, I was comparing it with our budget setback schedule shared with you guys by our mayor's special assistant, and I noticed that we need to set a public hearing, so I figured we'd set a public hearing for 2 weeks from tonight at the next council meeting. And again, it's my fault that I didn't see it, and I do appreciate that we almost always make more than, well, the law says 24 hours previous notice. We here in City of Glens Falls usually do it on Friday before Tuesday, so 4 or 5 days pending. So does that answer your questions?
Well, I think that answers the same question about the other resolution. This resolution also asks to set a public hearing. I would request that we table that. I'm okay with accepting a tentative budget as the charter requires us to do. The charter does not require us to have a public hearing until November 10th, at which time we have another council meeting, so we could set the public hearing at the next meeting. We had a meeting scheduled before this meeting to talk about health insurance, which is a significant part of our budget, and it had to be canceled at the last minute, so we haven't been able to even discuss that yet. That also means those employee leadership of the various unions haven't had a chance to learn about it yet. We haven't had a chance to make final personnel decisions. We've received a clean copy of the budget for the first time tonight. We've received other drafts, but this is the first time we've received a clean copy. We haven't met with the controller to talk about debt service. I think that it wouldn't hurt anything, and it would just show that we're doing our due diligence to have those conversations before we set a public hearing. I don't necessarily even know what we're setting a public hearing on. We haven't made any of those decisions yet. We'd still be in line with the charter if we just set the public hearing at the next meeting.
Well, the thing is, then you're pushing the approval back 2 weeks. 99% of the budget is done, although the health insurance is a large part of the budget. You have in front of you, you have a clean copy of the budget that has the health insurance changes, although you are having that company come in. So I would disagree with that. You've had 18 budget meetings so far, and so you've had all of September that you're working on it. Now, all we're doing is setting a public hearing. We're not, the budget can be changed anywhere up until, from now until the time it's passed in November, or it's got to be passed by the end of November. So it doesn't hurt to have a public hearing on October 28th. The plan, as laid out in your agenda in our setback schedule, shared with you in the 1st of September, is to have a public hearing on the 28th, and then you leave it open for at least 2 weeks. So anyway, that's...
The concern I have is that we haven't met the necessary conditions to be able to set a public hearing tonight. As you know, but we've had several problems with the copies of the budget, so we've received not matching numbers. You saw that for yourself when we sat in on a budget meeting the other night. Several questions I asked. The department head that was there said that's not the same number I have. So at this point, I don't have confidence that I even know exactly what the budget numbers are. And I know you're saying 99% of the budget is done, but health insurance is a huge part. Most of the council has not been given an opportunity to even learn what we're trying to do with health insurance. And I think it's a respect thing for our employees that our employee unions have a chance to learn what we're considering doing with their health insurance and weigh in on it. That's just a normal part of making changes to health insurance. I know that was supposed to be scheduled for this week, but unfortunately, because we failed to publicly notice the discussion we were going to have earlier, that all has to be canceled. If the budgets had been accurate and if we had had these discussions in time, I wouldn't be concerned about on a budget that I myself haven't even reviewed yet. And that we don't have the numbers for really crucial elements of our budget decided yet. We said at our last meeting we would make final personnel decisions after reviewing health insurance and after getting clean copies of the budget. We didn't review health insurance and we got clean copies of the budget on our tables when we walked in tonight. Also, it causes zero harm to set the public hearing at the next meeting. We're still meeting the guidelines of the charter.
I disagree with your characterizations that you haven't had the budget. You've had the budget since September 1st. You've had 18 different meetings. You met with every department head, and you have a recommendation from Councilman Landry. The number has been set based on what we think we're going to do, although those changes could be made. And all you're doing is setting a public hearing. You haven't done anything, and the only reason I don't believe that we should postpone it, but I certainly will. If the council doesn't agree, then we don't have to second and approve the motion.
There's nothing, it causes absolutely no harm to just give us time to understand the decisions we're making and review the budget. It doesn't set us back. We meet our schedule that's in the charter. I don't know what the rush is.
It's not a rush. We've been working on the budget for an entire month. I don't know why we would drag our feet. We're just setting a public hearing for 2 weeks from now.
Mayor Collins, do you acknowledge that we have not yet discussed debt service, health insurance, made final decisions on personnel, or discussed reserves? Do you acknowledge those things?
Yes, I acknowledge
Okay,
it.
so then...
No, Councilwoman Palmer, I don't want to debate this any longer with you. I believe that you should have this public hearing, that you've had several meetings, and 90% of this budget, 95% of this budget. I'm glad you don't think you have the numbers, or that Councilwoman Palmer doesn't think you have the numbers. There is a motion in front of you to set a public hearing. That's all that this is. We're not voting on the agenda. It leaves it out for the council. You say you want transparency in this budget process. We're trying to get the meeting set up, the last meeting set up for on Monday the 20th. And setting a public hearing for the 28th does nothing. It moves the budget along forward, but it does nothing to compel anybody to vote in a certain way. If anybody else is concerned about the numbers, they have plenty of time to weigh in on them. And so does the public.
I'm concerned about the numbers, and I'm concerned about other things that aren't included currently. For one thing, we know we'll be doing debt service for the 20-year amortization of the electrical service that's not included in the sewer water budget. So that's one thing that's not there. Another thing that's not there is I don't see all of the things from the market center that was building out kitchen and things like that. That was mentioned in passing in meetings, but doesn't seem to be in the budget. So I have a lot of questions about it. So I would like to see those things taken up, gone over before we say, here's a tentative budget, and we're not going to have a tax increase or something like that.
I would just like to address my fellow peers on the council. I don't wish to be argumentative. I just ask you, you have been in the same budget meetings as me. You have seen that we haven't finished our work to vet the budget. There is no harm in scheduling the public hearing at the next meeting. We still meet the requirements in the charter. We have not yet had discussions on vital things. When you put a public hearing, when you set a public hearing, the public then can get in there and review the budget so they can come prepared to ask questions. We ourselves haven't reviewed the things that are in this budget, including health insurance. So I don't feel comfortable putting this out for a public hearing for the public until we've done our due diligence. That's the point. And there's nothing to lose by doing that. It just gives us a little more time to go through it.
So Diana, are you making, or Councilwoman, are you making a motion to table this, or are you making it in the resolution, or what are you trying to do?
Well, I wish that it would, let me just, so I am okay with accepting that a tentative budget is presented, which isn't even in the resolution. But I would like, my motion would be to table the the resolution to set the public hearing until our next council meeting, when we will have had time to have all these discussions. We can then set a public hearing.
To November 10th?
To November 10th, because we moved our meeting because of Veterans Day from the 11th to the 10th, and so we would still fit the, the requirements as put out in the chart, but we just have time to make these decisions and talk about it.
Would you then amend the resolution to make it the 10th of November?
That would be, well, yes, as long as we,
You have that ability.
as long as we have the meetings
You have the ability to do that.
to amend the resolution.
I mean, every
Yeah.
council person has that.
Yeah, I guess I can amend it if it's necessary at the next meeting. I can amend it again. I hope not. It's just that meetings that we had planned on have been, canceled. So I can't guarantee that we will have had all the meetings by that date. But
Well, it gives us something to shoot for.
yeah. For now, though, I would be happy to do that, to amend the resolution to set a public hearing on October 10th. November 10th.
I think this is a mistake.
Mayor, without due respect, what harm? What's the difference? What's the difference?
In the past years, we've had people vote no because the public comment period wasn't held on long enough. We've had people, so there's the harm. It's dragging our feet.
I respectfully disagree with you, and I would second your motion, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilman Clark.
So we have a motion to set the public hearing, request approval to set a public hearing on November 10th, 7:25 regarding the fiscal year 2026 general fund water and sewer department budgets. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you. Under regular agenda, on the regular agenda, we have 13 resolutions from the seven city departments to address. Are there any resolutions in this section that you have questions or concerns about? Number 6, community development. Approval of the CBG home rehab assistance grant project, number 2024-33-02 in the amount of $21,000. We have a motion to approve. So we have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 6.2, approval of HCR vacant rental program assistant project number VRP-GF-06 in the amount not to exceed $250,000. The owner to be determined after bid process, $15,000 equity estimate. Do we have a motion to approve?
So
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 7. The approval 7.1. Approval of mobile food license application number 147-2025 to vend the city of Glens Falls. Do we have a motion to approve? We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 7.2. Approval of street opening encroachment permit number 79-2025 based on approval of layouts in compliance with the city standard requirements. Do we have a motion to approve? Do we have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 7.3, discussion and vote. Retroactive approval of sidewalk encroachment permits, number 80-2025 and 83-2025, based on approved layout and compliance with the city standard requirements. Do we have a motion to approve? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 7.4, retroactive approval encroachment permit number 81-2025 to place a lift in the street for completion of repairs and painting at 23 Grant Avenue, September 30th, 2025 through October 14th, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve? We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 7.5, the Glens Falls County Council hereby nominates Ward 4 resident Sam Cronin to the City of Glens Falls Ethics Board. Do we have a motion to approve? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any opposed? Or all in favor? Excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 8.1, resolution to decrease A 11210-1000 personnel by 7,500 and increase A 272-4479 by 7,500 to pay the second half of the city support for the business improvement district. Do you have a motion to approve? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 9.1, approval to decrease A23-120 by 1,100 by $21,830.27 and increase 823120-2030 computer equipment by $21,830.27 to upgrade all fleet vehicles with Windows 11. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Sorry.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Fire Department, 10.1, approval to accept 2 checks totaling $187.27 in refunds from Verizon and transfer back into the budget line A23410-4479 other contracted service to replenish that line as funds were originally withdrawn from there. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 11, Public Works. 11.1 is approval to increase expense line A23310-2400 by $48,395.79 and increase expense line A0099999-2680 insurance recovery by $48,395.79. Do we have a motion to approve?
It's revenue line expense. We're increasing the expense line and the revenue line to match the expense.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'll make the
Which I pointed out.
You did. I apologize. Thank you. We have a motion from Councilman Clark. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. 11.2, approval to accept an insurance recovery check in the amount of $652.23 from Liberty Mutual Insurance for damage sustained in an Army assembly and luminary installation at the parking lot at 170 Warren Street. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Water and sewer. 12.1. Approval to decrease water fund by $271,000.52 and increase G78130-4479 other contracted services by $271,000.52 to pay for an emergency sewer repair at Glens Street and Crandall Pond completed by TKC. Do we have a motion to approve? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? And any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Old business. Councilman Clark. Councilman Dunn.
No business.
Councilman Landry.
No business.
Councilwoman Palmer. Councilman Laffer.
No.
Councilwoman Good. New business. Councilman Clark. Councilman Dunn. Councilman Landry.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, my apologies for being unable to attend this year's budget meetings. As I told Councilman Jim Clark in August, some issues in my family did not make me available weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. and 4 to 7 p.m. I know some people have criticized me publicly for not attending those meetings. My family comes first. I know we moved most meetings until after everyone's work hours, but that created a difficulty for me. However, I have continued to work on the budget in my office during my available time and with input from Councilman at Large Jim money should be raised and spent. That will not change until a mayor and a council says stop. You can't fix our problems over one new hire or one or two layoffs. Things don't change debating how community development or economic development efforts are conducted. Fees for buildings and codes don't need to go down. Their necessity needs to be sold to those who are required to pay them. And we sure could use the revenue. We can't get the job done with worn-out firefighting equipment or too few police officers. We're suffering from that right now, and the list goes on. We seem to avoid the elephant in the room. Healthcare is 22% of our budget. We cannot financially support that. Our efforts to move this year from traditional carrier health insurance to partial self-funding and then full self-funding in 2027, to me is the right answer to the spiraling health insurance costs. But in order to benefit from these savings, which could be $1 million or more in our budget, we must bring on some personnel, most likely one person needed to transition, as recommended by the consulting firm we hired to advise us of these steps. Our police and fire department are a combined 40% of our budget. We cannot financially support that either. Until we are ready to have those discussions about those huge items, the elephant in the room items, no budget process will reverse the trend. And if we do not reverse the trend, we will reach a point of time where we talk about limiting services. No one wants to be the one that has to do that. The present budget, as I read it, seems fair and equitable. Sure, I have things that I think money should or should not be spent on. I have items that I think could be better addressed by utilizing either consultants or providers. I have questions about some department heads not being able to run their departments to the standards that must be met in a successful city. Let's have those discussions, but not at budget time. During the year, we should have these discussions and been developing the most efficient strategy we can to deliver taxpayers what they expect and pay for. Budget processes during election time are always sprinkled with just enough politics to make the average city taxpayer sick. No new taxes or no increase in taxes is just what our taxpayers want. I have asked many constituents while campaigning what they want, and it's either no tax increase or better yet, a tax reduction. Unfortunately, the latter is down the road. I hope it's down the road. But no increase in taxes for 2026 is music to the ears of our taxpayers. That's what they've told me, and many of us are out campaigning, and I'm sure they've heard it too. They don't care about where the money comes from as long as their taxes do not go up. And if we use fund balance, that's taxpayers' money. They have no problem with and agree with that philosophy. Again, my apologies for not being able to voice my opinions during the budget process. I see before us a good budget that checks all the boxes, including the most important box, which is no tax increase for our residents. Thank you.
Well, I agree with Councilman Landry that we should be having ongoing financial discussions throughout the year, and I hope that I will be in a position to make sure that happens. I wanted to ask about Webster Avenue. I know I wasn't able to attend the Board of Public Safety meeting because it happens during my workday, but I did hear from many constituents, and I wasn't sure if something would be on the resolution tonight. I saw that the Board of Public Safety made a positive recommendation for the council. Should I expect, or should we expect that will be on our next agenda? Just the constituents were asking me, and I told them it's not on the agenda tonight, so, you know.
Yes, I think it will.
It needs to go to Canada. She would need to amend the law. I haven't gotten anything from the board. She would need to amend the law. And then that would then have to go for a public hearing. And then.
Okay. I wasn't able to attend, but I know that constituents went and they spoke, and then I received a bunch of letters, and they're just asking me when should they be prepared to come and talk to us. So I wanted to find that out. Do you think it'll be for the next council meeting? We're not sure.
We can. I'll try to get it to Karen. We'll talk about it. There was a public we need to set
Well, if you're gonna change the law, one, I need to see the resolution from the Board of Public Safety telling me what you wanna change. Then we would establish, public hearing, notice of a public hearing, and we would have the public hearing. We could leave it open or vote on it that night, and we would be making a new resolution to amend whatever the record. I haven't seen it.
I'll try to get you that.
It wouldn't be the next meeting, as far as
It's not going to be the next
it's
meeting.
not going to be the next meeting, so they have time.
Right, yes.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Councilman Lapp.
Back in September, I forwarded you and Chief of Police and copied the Protective Council on a complaint that I heard from somebody whose sister passed away, and he contends that the residence was I guess entered without permission by the city, and subsequently things were burglarized from the site. And I would like to get a response from Mayor's office and from the Chief of Police. That was sent to you on September 27th. I haven't received any response.
I've spoken to the chief about it. It's an ongoing issue. If you want to go and meet with the chief when he's available,
I've kind of told you about my availability on that, and I would like a response in writing from the Mayor's office and the Chief of Police.
The chief of police has no comment on ongoing investigation, nor he made me.
So this is
But
from 2000.
I know exactly from when it is. I know the situation. I talked to the chief about it. And so does the person that's made the complaint to you. So I will try my best to write you a response from the chief. I have no response. This is an ongoing thing with the chief and some complaint. And so you're welcome to, when somebody has such a complaint, Councilman Lyman, the best thing you can do is refer them to our police chief. You can choose to insert yourself if people are upset, but that's not my recommendation.
Okay. What you had said earlier was talking about being transparent. What you're saying now is don't say anything past the buck. Say it's just an ongoing investigation and there's nothing being investigated.
Thank you. Councilwoman, do you have any business? No business. One second, just wait a second. One second. Okay. Under new business, tomorrow here at 1 o'clock, we have a groundbreaking of the last section of our downtown revitalization initiative. This is the HCR project. We want to thank the governor and HCR, 8 Homes and Community Renewal. It's a $27 million project that includes 70 workforce level housing. I want to invite you all again. I know that you were sent the invite as many other people have been. It's a great day for us. We're going to meet here and have comments here, and then walk over to the Sandy's, the other side of Sandy's building, and go through a ceremonial groundbreaking. We tried to hold this event sooner when we were actually doing the actual groundbreaking, but I couldn't get HCR from the state to clear a date. So we're excited to do this. We know the governor's office will be there. We know HCR will be there. We know this is a great moment for us. It is the final piece of the $49 million DRI that will have its final celebration of beginning groundbreaking. So I want to thank you all. If you can attend, please try to find the time, and hope the public comes as well. This Friday, the Special Olympics opening ceremonies are at our city park. Then on Saturday, there are 7 state fall games being held in Warren and Saratoga County. Nearly 1,000 athletes will come to Glens Falls. They've all competed and trained locally and then regionally across the state for a chance to come to the big dance here in Glens Falls. They will compete in bocce, softball, and soccer at Morris Field and at the Dome. They will compete in cross-country running in our Coles Woods. They'll compete in cycling up at the Warren County Municipal Center. They will compete in golf in Saratoga County up on the other side of Corinth. I've forgotten is it Bend of the River maybe, golf course. And they'll do equestrian at Skidmore College. And so I want to invite you all to come and be part of that opening ceremonies Friday night in our city park, and then the competitions all day on Saturday. They still need volunteers. The Special Olympics team has arrived in Glens Falls and are beginning tomorrow to set up all of the sport venues. So you should see them around, and we want to welcome them. Let's see. On Friday, I made you aware of the process, the progress we've made on our recreation center, getting our ice rink and our refrigeration system back up and running. I sent that same notice to all of our ice rink tenants, and proud of the work that our city staff has done in getting that effort and working with the DEC and moving us forward. We hope to have our rec center open roughly in 1 month, middle of November. And the next one is I want to thank our staff, our police, our fire department, our community and economic development offices. This past Friday at City School, before the football game, we had presenting a Safe Street and project. It was to review all the work that we've done with AGFTC and the school district at making our streets and our safe sidewalks around the school safer. We've added sidewalks, we've done paving, moved the school buses off of the streets, added new sidewalks around on many of the side streets. I want to thank everybody making that possible. Also, our health insurance presentation, Councilman Palmer, were you able to move? I know it was tough. You had a conflict on the 20th. Is that possible?
Yes, I was able to move my work meeting.
Thank you so much. And that is the reason that we didn't have that meeting tonight is my fault alone. I failed to make public notice of this meeting, and so I'm the one who needed to cancel it, and I appreciate all of your flexibility in doing that presentation. We'll do it at City Hall at 6:15 starting. I'll send you out notices and make public notice of that meeting to meet with the insurance company and talk and finalize that. I also have for you to hand out excuse me a second. So, make sure I got these. I've got, can you pass that down to Councilman Clark? I'm going to pass you some more. Sorry, I don't have these better. My secretary was out today, and my collating skills are not the best. These are my attempt at answering the questions that you had asked in the last budget meeting. I'm sure that I should be at the top. Councilman Landry, so go back. questions, we can go ahead and ask them, and we can review them after the health insurance meeting. If you can stick around, we should be able to talk about these things. Certainly welcome to ask me any questions, but I think I've given you every answer from my notes that I took that night. So that was about that. And then I am working on an approved report from our cyber attorney regarding the cyber incident. They certainly have sent us a simple thing saying that for the press, saying that the cyber incident is done, but it didn't have the details that I know that the council is looking for. We may need to go into executive session because this is an investigation of that moment. So as soon as I can get a report from our cyber attorney on information that's okay to release to the public, I will forward that out to the council. And that is all the new business I have. Last but certainly not least, we open back up for public comment.
Sean Palladino of 32 Feeder Bend, and there's one other cool event that's coming up on October 25th, the Adirondack Runners 32nd Annual Goblin Gallop 5K. Really excited because I haven't done it in 6 years because I've always worked on Saturday, so kind of excited. But definitely come out and can't believe that event's been going on for 32 years. That's almost as old as I am, which is kind of funny. But come out and enjoy the community.
Thank you, Sean. See you there. Costumes encouraged. Not seeing any other public comment, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Stand adjourned.